Hey everyone, so thanks for joining our first Zoom Pilates. So as you know, we're suggesting you grab a yoga brick or a foam roller and that you've got your TheraBands ready. Next week we will be using small hand weights, so make sure that you've got those with you as well. So just to run you through what we're going to do in the Pilates as it's week one, we're going to focus quite heavily on our deep core muscles. We're going to focus on our glutes and our postural muscles as well. So there's a few tips that I really want you to focus on. Number one is your breathing. So breathing is obviously really important. And what a lot of people don't know is that the diaphragm is actually part of our core. So as we breathe in, our diaphragm goes down, our pelvic floor goes down. As we breathe out, they both come back up, okay? If those two aren't working and we're not breathing nice and steadily while we're doing the work, our core itself can't contract. Our pelvic floor also works with our deep abdominal muscles. So again, really important to make sure that you're breathing and getting those muscles to engage in the right way. The second thing that I really need everyone to do is if we're doing anything on our back, especially with our legs up, it's really important to think about your spine being imprinted on the floor. Now, if you can't maintain that position, it will hurt your back, especially if you do have a back injury. So it's really important to really think about sticking your spine down to the ground. The other thing that's really important in terms of keeping your neck in a nice safe position is when you're lifting off the ground, our first instinct is to kind of curl up like that. It's really important to think about pushing your ribs into the ground and maintaining nice alignment through your mid-back and through your neck. So those are my main tips for today. So what we're going to start with, and we will start with this every time, is decompressing our lower back and also our mid-back. So this is really important to combat any sitting that we do. So if you don't have a yoga block, I would suggest grabbing one. It doesn't give you a nice stretch. Otherwise you can use a foam roller. So let's get going. So block or roller under your bum. Now it's under the meaty part of your bum and letting the legs relax. If you feel comfortable, arms are going above your head. Now we're going to lie here for 1 minute. What we're doing here is putting our spine into a passive extension. We're opening up the diaphragm, we're opening up the top of the rectus abdominis, we're opening up the hip flexors, and we're also giving the spine a deep stretch. So we're going to then combat this with some flexion, and that's going to encourage our discs to take up some more fluid. So we're going to run through this twice. So in your own time, I'd be doing a minute of the block underneath, but for purposes of our Pilates class, we're going to do 30 seconds. So again, depending on your level, just knees to chest. Otherwise, we're running through some egg rolls. And what you'll find here is that you'll have a little flat spot in your spine, and that is a stiff vertebra. So 10 of those, or 10 of the knees to chest, and we're going again. Again, if you've got the yoga block and the first position was comfortable, you can go the highway to get more of a stretch there. We're going to stay here for 30 seconds. Now, this should never be painful, just a nice stretch. Really try and get some nice deep belly breaths in while you're here. Good. 10 more rocks. Then we're going to work our mid-back. Then we'll get going on some strength. The next one, again, if you're using the yoga block, it goes in between your shoulder blades, okay? Or the foam roller goes down your whole mid-back. Okay, and it's where you're comfy. Arms above you is ideal. It's where we really want you, but if it feels like it's going to cramp, arms out to the side. Again, working on that deep breathing. 30 seconds here. All right. Coming onto your hands and knees, we're just going to go through a thread stretch. So everyone's a little bit different here. Personally, I find if my arms straight, and I get a bit of stretch, so I'm pushing down to the ground with a threaded hand, holding that for about 15 to 20 seconds, then switching sides. All right, so let's go through how to activate our core. So the muscle that we're looking at is called our transversus abdominis, and it's our deepest layer of our core muscles. So I like to think of it as the corset of our lower back that attaches from one side of your spine all the way around to the other. So there's a few cues that we can use here. The one that I personally like is if you dig your fingers into your tummy and think about on the exhale, drawing your belly button into your spine. Now you should feel a little pop underneath the fingers. Now if that cue doesn't work for you, the other one that you can think about is pulling your skin away from your underwear. And again, it's not going to be a big bang pop, it's going to be a really gentle squeeze, okay? So again, this is really important for all the work we're about to do now, okay? So if we just do 5 of those, so nice inhale, as you exhale, draw the belly button to the spine or the undies away from your skin. Big breath in. Breath out. Draw the belly button in. Breath in. Draw the belly in. One more. In and out. All right, so anytime that we've got our legs up in the air, that's the cue that we're going to be using to really get the core to engage. So next, what we're going to do is a core roll up. So what we're doing here is taking a breath and working at different points, okay? So hands are going to be behind your head, and you're going to go with me. So breath in to prepare, out, chest lift. In, hands to the sides of your leg, out and up. In, hands back behind your head, out and down. Okay, so it's a breath in to prepare, out and up. In, hands to the sides of your legs, out and up. In, hands back behind, out and down. Okay, now if that's too easy, you can go into your tabletop position, but again, it's really important that your spine is flat, okay? So we're going to run through 5 of these, so we're going to go in time with each other. So it's a breath in to prepare, out, chest lift. In, hands to the sides of your legs, out and up. In, hands back behind your head, out and down. Right, we've got 4 more there. In to prepare, out, chest lift. In, hands to the sides of your legs, out and up. In, hands back behind your head, out and down. We've got 3 more there. In to prepare, out and up. In, hands to the sides of your legs, out and up. In, hands back behind, out and down. So we're going to switch away from core and then we're going to come back to it. So we're going to go through some glute bridges here. So I see people do these wrong a lot of the time. So the main thing we're going to do here is we're going to roll your hips back to flatten your spine on the ground. Okay. From there, I want you to think about slowly peeling your spine off the ground. When we go back down, you're going to replace the opposite way and then relax the pelvis. Okay. Good. So roll your hips backwards, lift up the lower lumbar spine, upper lumbar, lower part of the ribs. Replace the lower part of the ribs first, upper lumbar spine, lower lumbar spine, hips. So this should make it a lot harder and you might even get a little wobble on the way down. So let's go 10 there in your own time. So lifting it up, get a nice glute squeeze at the top, replace them down nice and slowly. Good. Really important to get that lower one vertebra at a time. That's it. So make sure that those glutes are nice and tight at the top there, and try and not let yourself go into too much curve in the lumbar spine at the top of your bridge. Good. So we're working a muscle here in your lower back called your multifidus. Okay, we're also working your glutes and your hamstrings and your deep core at the same time. But the idea of that roll is you're getting the little multifidus muscle, and he works at the segmental motion of your spine to control that. And that's why we tend to get that little wobble on the way down. Let's do 2 more there because I've lost count. So you should be getting a good burn in the hamstrings and in the glutes here. Beautiful. All right, so let's stick with the glutes for a second. I want to get you to roll onto your side. Now it's completely up to you where you want to put your hands. So I'm more comfy in this position. So what you're going to do is bottom leg is bent, top leg is straight. Okay. You're going to start thinking about pushing your heel to the opposite end of the room. Okay. So what we're going to do here is take your leg slightly behind your hip to start with, and this is our start position. And you should feel the glute firing already. Okay. What we're going to do here is we're going to do some small up and downs. Now it's really important that your heel is always behind your hip while you're doing this. So let's go for 20. All right, when you hit your 20, we're going to then do some back and forward. So again, your start position is heel behind your bum. Okay, you're going to come forward and back. But really important that we're not moving through our spine, that all of the work is happening in the hip itself. Okay, the bigger the movement, the harder the movement. So if you're struggling to maintain your spinal position, I'd rather it was a smaller movement. So again, we're going to work about 20 there. You should be getting a nice burn in the side of the hip there. Good. All right, once you've hit your 20, we're going to then do some circles. So again, that start position is heel slightly behind your bum, small circles forward, keep that heel pushing to the opposite end of the room. So again, make sure all the movement's happening in the hip, not in the lower back. That glute should really be feeling it now. Good, and once you've hit 20, you can have a little rest. Then we're going to go the opposite direction. So you're going to go backwards on the second set. Good. So once you've done that, switching over to your other side. Again, we're going to start with the ups and the downs. So pushing your heel to the other end of the room, up and down. Always keeping that heel slightly behind your bum. Good. Once you've hit your 20, we're going to go forwards and back. Keeping that heel pushed right to the other end of the room. So thinking about pushing the hip out of the socket. Good. Once you've hit your 20, circles one way. Keep that circle behind your hip. Good. Then 20 the other way. I always find that the second glute's so much worse. Beautiful. Awesome. Now, have you got a TheraBand?
I have.
So we're going to work on some posture here. Perfect. Okay. So we're going to loop that around your feet, sitting up nice and tall. We're going to work on these postural muscles. So again, the closer down to your feet that you grab, the harder the band's going to be. So it depends on how mean you want to be to yourself. So first point here is we are tucking our chin to keep a nice neutral neck position. Okay. From here up nice and tall, chest is sticking out. We're going to roll the shoulders back. We're going to hold for 3 seconds. Really thinking about pushing your shoulders down and away from your ears and releasing. Good. We're going to keep going. So again, we want the work to be on the breath out. So as you pull the band, it's a breath out. Good. So really should be feeling in between those shoulder blades going now, keeping a nice stable back. Breath out as we're pulling. Good. Let's do 5 more. All right, so let's really challenge these shoulders and these postural muscles while we're in this position. So our next movement again is keeping that neck nice and tucked. Thumbs are up to the ceiling, okay? You're going to pull up, keeping the elbows straight and down, okay? So on the breath out and back down. Good. Breath out and back down. I'm going to do 10 of these, so I'm up to about 3.
This is my third.
Good. So really making sure we're focusing on that exhale as you're lifting up. And you should really be feeling the shoulders burn here in that mid-back, really starting to pull. The core is going to be doing a nice activation here as well. I think I've got 2 more. I've lost count because I talk too much.
I've got 1 more. That's it.
All right. While we're in this position, we're going to get back to these deep core muscles. So the easier you want to make it, the further out your hands are. Okay? So the closer your hands are to your bum, the harder it is. So we're going to work using our deep core while we're moving our legs. Okay, so our start position is chest up. We never want to be sagging in the middle. So up, legs are up. Okay, 1, 2, together. Okay. Perfect. So the biggest thing is to try and keep the elbows straight. So I find if you turn your fingertips facing behind you, it's an easier position.
Okay.
And every time that we move our leg, is a breath out. So it's nice and slow. If we're not breathing out, we're not engaging our core. Okay? So just a breath in, out. Good. Keep going. Good. That's it. You need to have a rest. I know my legs get really heavy. Good. Keep the chest up nice and high. Okay, we're going to go for about 10. That's perfect. So try not to bob as we move with both legs. So we want to try and keep a nice stable position the whole time. Now for anyone, if this is too hard, we're going to work on one leg and do 20 on the one leg, really focusing on keeping the chest up and engaging the core if that is hard, because it is quite a challenge. Okay, let's turn to the back of us. We all need to work on our mid-back strength. So again, we're grabbing our band, okay? Again, the biggest thing that I see people do wrong here, and it starts really hurting their neck, is they're worried about looking in front of them rather than worried about looking at the floor. So we're going to keep our neck looking straight down, okay? We're going to pull the band apart. We're going to do a big press and pull it down to hit our chest. Okay? Keeping an outward rotation. So if I show you facing the camera, it's here, I rotate out, press, and back in. Okay, but I'm just doing that facing on the floor because it's going to get that mid-back really engaged. Right, so let's go for 20 here because we're amazing. Okay, so looking straight down at the ground, rotate out, big press. As you pull down, think about pulling your elbows down into your back pockets. And that'll increase the work in your lower back. If you feel like your neck's starting to get tired, just relax for a second. Again, really working on that breath as you extend the arms. That's when we're really looking to get the exhale.
10 or 20?
20.
Okay.
All right.
10, 20, 10 more then.
2 more?
Oh no, I said 10 or 20. I've done 10.
Oh, let's go through 10 more.
Oh, okay.
No rest for the wicked. So keep that chin tucked, keep looking at the ground, keep pulling those shoulders into your back pockets. That's perfect. Good job. All right. I'm going to stick with the shoulders for one more exercise. So we're grabbing our block again. So we're going to work on that mid-back. So our thumbs are up to the ceiling, arms are out straight. We're looking straight down at the ground. Okay. So we're going to lift one, lift the second, lift both. Okay. Lift one, lift the second, lift both. So try and keep the elbows as straight as we can and try and keep the chest flat onto the ground. So our cheating mechanism is going to be to lift up the whole side of the rib cage. Try and keep our legs flat on the ground, and it's just the shoulders moving. This should give you a really good burn in the mid-back and in the back of the shoulder. So we're going to go for about 20 again. So if this one's hard, a lot of the time it's because our mid-back is really stiff.
I've actually got an injured shoulder.
So, because usually a lot of our shoulder issues are usually because our mid-back is really, really tight. Our mid-back.
No, I damaged my shoulder. I'm getting physio with Will for my shoulder.
Yeah, so this is a really good rehab program for a shoulder. It's going to really push the strength. Okay, let's go through one more strength exercise. So while we're here, we're going to do what's called a bird dog. Okay, so again, the biggest thing that we want to think about doing is curling out the spine. My favourite cue is thinking about I try not to drop my tummy onto the knife. Okay, so it's really important to stay into curve on the spine. What we're going to do then is get our balance, extend the opposites, hold for 3 seconds, and come in. Curl out, extend, hold for 3 seconds, and come back in. So again, really important that we don't lose the hip and the hip comes up higher or the shoulder drops. Really important to keep nice and straight. So curl, making sure we're curling out. And just to show you a bad rep, if we don't do the curl out, you can see how my spine sinks. Versus keep it nice neutral. So 10 on each side, and then we're going to do a few stretches just to finish off our first class. Every class gets a little bit harder because we're that little bit stronger. One more on each side for that. All right, so let's go through some stretching. So we're going to go into a child's pose stretch. So knees are nice and wide. Pushing your bum to one end of the room, fingertips to the other. Really think about pushing your armpits down to the ground. Good. Now, staying down, we're going to walk both hands to the right as far as we can go. And think about pushing that left armpit down to the ground. And you should get a nice left side stretch there. Really push that left side down. And then walking both hands to the left. Push that right armpit to the ground now. And then we're going to come up onto our hands and knees. We're just going to run through some cat curls. So trying to really curl the spine out as far as we can get it. Sink into the middle, try and look up to the ceiling. Curl it out. Sink in. Keep going. Sink in. Let's go 2 more.
Thank you. See you next week.
Last one. All right, I'm going to go through some mid-back mobility now. So just one hand behind the back of your neck. Then I go elbow to elbow, elbow to ceiling, elbow to elbow, elbow to ceiling. Good. Just do 3 more on that side. Good, and the other side. Good. Last one. All right, and we're going to a glute stretch while we're here. So one leg drops forward. So you want to try and create, yeah, that's perfect. So you want to get over that front leg. That's it. And try and get those forearms onto the ground if you can. And I'm going to switch sides. So really try and get that foot up so that you get a good glute stretch.